Welcome. Hey. Welcome to the Donna Show. Welcome to the Donna Show.
Hey guys, it's Patricia from Our Heyday and Donna. So we're doing something a little bit different. It's 2017, something a little bit fresh. We're going to start vlogging, and we thought that this would be a great way for us to kind of engage with our ultimate user, you all, and bring a little bit of our story into what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. 2017 feels so important for us because there's so many changes that are happening in our studio, and we want to share a little bit of that because I think somewhere along the way our story got a little bit lost, but it's so important to what we do on a day-to-day basis, and so we thought this would be a great avenue through which we can do that. It's been a long time since I've been back in the studio. You might not have known this, but I had a little girl in June of last year, and so I was working from home pretty remotely. I had a pretty difficult pregnancy, so I was actually forced on bed rest since March of last year, so it's literally been almost a year since I've been back here, and so much has changed. And you are now back in the studio from New York, from Long Island. From Queens.
Yeah. I was on Long Island for a year and Queens. Yeah, in Queens for a year. But I just moved back last fall from across the country, and so it just feels like a really special moment, I think, for us because a lot of like what we had been doing up until this point feels like it's coming kind of to a head. You know, being back in the studio together for the first time since we've been working together since May of 2014, which is crazy because we've really navigated this relationship, but also our working relationship through emails and texts.
Let's also stop because I don't think a lot of people know that we're sisters, and we've been doing, like you said, we've been doing this together since May of 2014, and May of 2014 because that was the year that Our Heyday exhibited at NSS, which is the National Stationery Show, for the first time, and you were with Our Heyday at the time. You were still teaching. And happened to be able to help me that week. And totally, you had no idea really what I was doing. And it was probably about 9 months, starting in 2013, I spent 9 months kind of creating what Our Heyday would be after I left law school in 2012. And so when I exhibited at NSS, you were really just kind of there as my sister to help me.
Right. I mean, it was just like an extra pair of hands. I was living in New York anyway. I was on Long Island, but you know, I hopped on a train for an hour and a half and spent just that week or the few days in Manhattan helping Pat exhibit, and not with the intention of coming on board, but I think during those 4 days, I felt really strongly that I wanted to maybe leave teaching, and I think I just fell in love with the industry and the people and just the creativity of it, and then NSS was so great for Our Heyday because it really gave us the exposure that we needed, and things kind of just really blew up organically from there, and Pat was looking to bring someone on, and I was kind of at a crossroads of teaching, and I think that just kind of aligned for us where I was able to come on board and also work remotely, and that was just such a huge blessing for Daniel and me, my husband, because it allowed me to support us in the time that we were in New York, and
because he was there for grad school.
He was there for grad school, so that was really great, and I think that kind of launched where we are now. And I moved back this fall. Pat's back in the studio as of January of this year. It feels like a good time, I think, to tell the story again, and we really wanted, you know, Our Heyday to be more than just the products that we create, but also to tell a story that's meaningful and impactful and encouraging.
Especially in this moment right now, I think, where people are really wanting, I think there's a hunger for real stories, especially behind small creative businesses, where you're seeing on our Instagram feeds and our Facebook feeds gorgeous style photos. Not that every picture that we post is gorgeous, but it's everything
in general.
It's
just social media,
right?
Filters,
and I think vlogging and just sharing what goes on behind the scenes here is so important because it helps us to check back into really what goes on a day-to-day and be real about that, because it's not always the pretty pictures that you see, and I think that's something, a common thread that's coming out these days, but I think that's something that we really want to commit to because 2016 was such a interesting year for us in that there were a lot of difficult moments and it's kind of forced us now to really think about the story that we want to share behind what we're doing here. So,
and I think it's important for us because really the conversations that we have on a daily basis, yes, are about the products that we create and the concepts and designs, but so much of it I think is about wanting to do this authentically and to just live our lives well, you know, including our personal lives and work and how we can do both. And I think that really comprises more than half of the things that we talk about. And it doesn't feel right, I guess, just to put out product without telling the story behind it. So
and we really want this to be a conversation with everyone about or who's interested in talking about what it means to run a small business as women, what it means to run a small business as a mom, for me,
as sisters. To have just good people around you, I think, is so important.
Right, and what it also means to kind of go after your dreams, I guess, and how that's possible. Because I think for us, our stories are both really interesting. That we left more traditional paths to pursue something that's a little more kind of out there, or something that feels a little more. It feels kind of a little bit like a dream, like that. It is a little bit impractical. We're not kind of taking a paycheck, and it's a different path. And so we want to talk about how that's been possible for us. That leap, you leaving teaching and my leaving a prospective career in law, and how we've channeled all of that and the things that we've learned along the way to doing this. And
I think that is something that we probably get the most emails from, Pat especially, just really specific questions on how this all came to be. And I think it's a hard thing to answer in a single email. And so if you're someone that emailed and we never responded, we're so sorry. I think we do try to respond to every email, but sometimes I think it's hard to say in an email and really accurately reflect or explain what this process is like. So we kind of just wanted to share more organically this way. And I think a lot of our story has been our upbringing and how that allowed us to be here together doing this.
Totally. And for those of us who don't know, we have a mom who's run a really vibrant wholesale business our entire lives. I mean, from as young as you can remember, we were doing trade shows. We were going to Javits was such a great moment for us because it
came full
circle. Life came full circle.
Totally.
That was their first trade show at Javits Convention Center, which is where the National Stationery Show is. And we spent so much of our childhood following them to Atlanta Mart, to the New York Gift Show, and Las Vegas. And so now that we're doing this, it's such an amazing story that we're now kind of carrying on the things that we learned when we were younger. So we want to touch on that too, how your past kind of affects your present, because I think there's nothing that really you go through that is wasted. And so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about what it means to be women doing really amazing, vibrant things, and especially in our cultural, political moment now, we think it's amazing that women are coming out and kind of taking ownership over their lives, and so we want to be a part of that conversation.
Not that it's, I guess not to in any way to say we're doing it well, but just to talk about the struggle, I think, in a real way.
Yeah, not that we've gotten it down, but what it means to do that as women,
right.
You know, it's just, I think that that's a conversation that we're yearning to have with other people. So,
and a conversation that we genuinely have almost on a daily basis.
Absolutely,
you know?
right.
Like, how is it that, you know, Pat now with Charlotte is navigating work and, you know, thinking about having a family and trying to do
what
this.
It means not to have a ball.
Right.
Because that's not possible.
The
sacrifices.
Yeah.
Right. We want to use this as a platform to talk about that and talk a little bit about our families, our family backgrounds. Hopefully we can get our dad in here, who is this most amazing man, and how he encouraged us to really follow the things that we're passionate about, and
how our sister relationship really shapes how we're doing this thing together. I think that's so unique, and we're so thankful to be doing this together. It was something that we'd always talked about growing up, like in what capacity could we run a business together, do something together, and it after college, it kind of, I went my way with teaching, and Pat went to law school, and it wasn't in the cards, but somehow here we are running our heyday together, and I think that is just a huge blessing and something that we're always thankful for. And yeah, we just want to create a space that's refreshing and positive, and also to talk about things that may be a little bit more difficult.
Totally. I was just gonna say, to be real about those things, because let me tell you, like, pregnancy was so tough for me, and there were a lot of things that I had to let go of, a lot of expectations, a lot of ideals, and that happens. Like, life happens, and when you run a small business, you don't get to say, oh, can I take maternity leave, or can I take some paid time off? Can I take, not sick days, but like basically leave your place of work. And when you run a business, you don't get to do that. You just figure out and navigate how to do that, how to do work while navigating the difficult parts of life, because everything is intertwined.
Right.
And so we want to talk about that because that was so important to our story in 2016.
Definitely, in the ways that just so many things aligned for us in a way that we couldn't have planned, and we're so thankful for.
Absolutely.
Just the provision that we've been given, I think, in 2016.
And we're going to talk about things that are also light and fun. Hopefully we get to share a little bit about who we are, because I think who we are totally represents what we're doing here, the products that we're releasing, and we want that to be authentic too. We're not just shuttling product out just to do it, but because there really is a thought process behind what we do, and hopefully that's interesting. And just be really intentional about the conversations that we're having here, and show you a little bit about what's going on behind the studio.
We're doing a bunch of new fun things in 2017 that we're excited to share. So we just thought this would be a really fun platform to kind of tell our story and to get the story back, or weave it back into our heyday. I think that was a huge part of the beginning, and we're excited to vlog and to get to know some of you better.
Totally, and please keep sending us emails, because we do get so many great inquiries that we just. And I sometimes feel bad because I feel like we don't give, like you said, full answers in the ways that we should, just because it's not possible with running an email and running a business. But we'd love to talk about the things that you're interested in and the things that interest us, because in answering those emails, there are a lot of things that we learn because we're not intentionally thinking about it. Just kind of we're just chugging along, but then when we have to stop and think about it, there's so much insightful thoughts that come from these responses that we're trying to craft for the questions that we receive. So we'd love to hear from you, and we'll continue to share as we go along.
Yeah, we're excited to be here and hope that it's a success. So we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.